Welcome, friends, to Farm Fresh Designs 59. I know we have not even gotten to Christmas, but friends, IOD has put out some perfect products to help us to get ready for Valentine's, and I don't want you to miss those opportunities to have these products to use later. I'm starting out with a resin casting made from clear epoxy, and the actual name brand is called Let's Resin, and I found that on Amazon. So once it gets set up, then I use some Pent Art decoupage glue ultra matte to glue this decoupage paper onto the back of it. It's a red harlequin, and it's made by IOD, and I will make sure to share my affiliate link for this paper in the description box below. And I use my finger sander to go around the edges, and then I actually just cut down at the base and then up at that little top portion. Now, while that is setting up, I use Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, and I paint the base of this cloche, and I'm going to paint the little part up at the top. Now, this particular cloche design doesn't go straight across. There's just some little swirly parts that go up onto that cloche, and I try to be really careful because I do not want that paint to go onto the clear casting. So I used a really tiny brush, and there were a couple times that I had to go back really quickly with the baby wipe when it did sort of accidentally go onto that clear part, and I did not want it on that particular part. I only wanted it on the base of it. And if you're on Facebook, I really encourage you to join the Facebook group called the IOD Creative Tribe, because the members on this Facebook page are just crushing this design with the cloche. They're doing all sorts of beautiful pieces of art. Now, on the back side of that rice paper, I want to make sure that it stands out, so I just paint the back of it white because I'm hoping that it will make that red pop just a little bit more, but I don't paint those little bases in that little part up at the top. Okay, now I'm going to clear up that clear epoxy and make it look more like glass, and I use this product, and it's called Diamond Glaze, and it's by Judikins, and I found this on Amazon, and even with just that first little brush of it, it just really makes it sparkle and look like clear glass. And then while that's setting up, then I go back with just some Dixie Belle Gold Gilding Wax, and I'm just brushing that onto the little part up at the top and then down at the bottom. And I put 2 coats of this diamond glaze on it, and it just really pulls that clear epoxy out, and it takes it from being sort of foggy to where it looks clear, and it's really beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to use an oldie but goldie mold, and it's called Fleur de Lis. And Jonelle from Decoupage Central, she was actually just able to snag a case of it. And so we wanted to show you how you can take this and turn it into some wonderful Valentine gifts, along with some of the Christmas products that were just released. So I make it with DOS air dry clay, and then I'm just using something because I want the heart in this particular mold to look kind of like make the little V down in the heart just a little bit more. So I just kind of have to finagle it a little bit, and that's why I'm using air dry clay. And before I put it on, then I'm going to go ahead and paint it once again with Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, because I want to make sure that those edges get painted. And then I'm going to be gluing it onto the top of the cloche. And if I paint it now, then I don't have to accidentally get black paint on that clear cloche. So I use Titebond Thick and Quick to put it on, and once it's set up, then I go back again with the Dixie Belle Gold Gilding Wax and put that all over this little heart to tie it all together. And I think it turned out really beautiful. So then I decided, kind of at the last minute, that I was going to take one of those little signs that you can get at the Dollar Tree, and I painted it black, and I sprayed it with clear sealer, and now I'm going back and I'm using just a lot of the script that came from the IOD transfer that came out this summer called Etiquettes, because in this transfer, there's a lot of different labels, but there's just a lot of script kind of here and there. And so I truly just cut out all different scripts that were kind of placed around the labels. And I'm just going to be transferring all these little pieces of script just all over the top of this little sign. And all of these little pieces actually are not even the same font. But it's just here and there, and I have already decided where I'm going to put that cloche on this little sign. So I'm leaving just that little empty spot right on the side because I don't want to waste any of the transfer that is not going to show up. And once again, I put this on with Titebond Thick and Quick, and that comes in the gray and blue bottle. And then I just set it over to the side and let it sit up for just a little bit. And now I'm going to be putting some gold gilding wax just around the edges, just to tie that gold in all together. And then to finish off the transfer and to seal it, I use this metallic paint collection Master Clear in the satin finish to brush on all over this transfer, and look how it really brightens it up and really makes it shine. And here's the final product. What do you think? Now this could actually even be used for a Christmas gift. You've just got so many pieces on it, but I just love the way that it turned out. So if you don't have the fleur-de-lis mold, this is a good time to get it because it's going to be so useful later on. So if you're enjoying the video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel and become part of our family. So let's keep going. This is a little sign that I actually bought at Hobby Lobby in the wedding section. So I painted it all white, and I'm just going to be using some black and white ticking paper from Roycycled. And I put that on with Mod Podge, and I just start down at the bottom, and I do a little bit, and then I put a little bit more down, and then I keep working my way all the way up to the top. And then I use my finger sander to kind of scrape off those little edges around it and make sure that when you do sand it off, you just sand down, because if you sand across, then it's going to tear that paper. Now, this is the stamp that came out just recently, and I believe at the time that this will air, Decoupage Central will still have some, and it's the stamp set called Classical Christmas, and it's got cherubs on it, and it's got like a little garland piece on it. It's got a lot of pretty things for Christmas, but remember, at Valentine's, we think a lot about cherubs, so I'm going to be using this along with some other pieces. So on this particular piece, I want to tape off that little thing that the cherub is holding. So I use painter's tape, and I ink it all up, and then I tear the painter's tape off, and then I'm going to stamp it onto this little sign. And then this is a little tool that I get off of Amazon, and that just helps me to stamp it without actually maybe getting some ink around the edges. And I use IOD black ink. And once I stamp it, I pull it straight up. Now, once again, I've made a little heart out of the Das Air Dry Clay from the Fleur-de-Lis mold, and I kind of made that little point right up at the top, and I'm gluing that as if the cherub is actually holding the heart. So it's a good way to mix and match a lot of different pieces, and I paint that with Dixie Belle Red. Now I want to tie in the mold called Lock and Key, and Decoupage Central still has some of these in stock. And this is an oldie but goldie as well. And I'm making this out of just plain resin. And I actually believe this resin was kind of old because it came out yellow. And on that little piece that's like the little lock, it's still just soft enough to where I can kind of glue that down at the bottom and then kind of like cut it off. And then I'm going to paint it with Waverly chalk paint in the color black or the color ink. And I'm going to paint the whole base of it. And then I'm going to put gold gilding wax on it. And this is one of the little keys from that same mold. And because it's made out of resin, then I need to drill that hole in it later. And then I paint it black and I put gold gilding wax on it. And then I'm just going to tie that up to the top. Also, because this is just a little miniature cutting board that makes like a little sign. So this is just a pretty little sign that you can set up in your kitchen. So what do you think? But I love this because it mixes and matches lots of different pieces. But right now, with the Christmas release and the classical Christmas, this is a perfect time to get a stamp that you can use for Valentine's or even for Mother's Day later on. But if you wait, then later on, it might be hard to find. Now, my last project is a little jewelry box that I bought, or I thrifted actually. And the little insert, I painted that white, and now I need to paint the little jewelry box white. And I don't want to have to accidentally get any paint on the inside of it, so I just lay some paper in between, and that helps me from like messing up. So once that's all dry, then once again on that classical Christmas stamp, there's some pieces that are kind of swirly, if that's what you want to call it. And I put those down and I use IOD black ink, and I'm going to stamp these all over that little white insert. And I've already kind of played with it to make sure that it's going to work, because I'm going to be using that stamp as a background. But this particular stamp in the stamp set is actually a really good corner piece. So now I'm ready to glue the insert into this little jewelry box. So I start out by using Titebond Thick and Quick and putting it down, and then I realize I probably just need to use some hot glue, so I just hot glue it in as well. So now I'm going to go back to my fleur-de-lis mold, and these are clay pieces from the fleur-de-lis. Not only do you have different sizes of fleur-de-lis in there, but you have some different leaves, and you have like a little rabbit in there, and you have different hearts. So this is a really good mold to have in your stash. And so I put one heart in it and two of those little leaves that kind of makes it look like angel wings. So I glue those on, and while that's setting up, there's that one little strip in the jewelry box that I paint with the Waverly chalk paint in the color black. And this takes quite some time because I don't want to make a big mess, but it was pretty difficult, and I used a really small brush to do this. So once all of my black paint is dry, then I go back in with the Dixie Belle Gold Gilding Wax, and I put that all over those top pieces, and then I'm going to put it on that little edge that goes around the jewelry box. So yes, this would make a great Valentine's gift, but also with Christmas coming, you know, if you're going to be giving someone a piece of jewelry, how sweet would it be to also give them a jewelry box to put it in? And this is just a really awesome box that I thrifted. Now I want to add one more little detail to it. So I'm going to go back with my air dry clay, and I'm going to use one of the locks in this particular mold. And I'm going to put it right on the front of this little jewelry box. And even though it really is not necessary, I think it just adds that extra detail to it. And I paint that with the black, and then I go back with the gold gilding wax and put that on top of that as well. And the reason I made this one out of air dry clay is because the front of this box has a little bit of a curve to it, and when you use clay, it makes it easy to kind of push it into that curve a little bit. And then to finish it off, I use my gold gilding wax and go all around the edges and just the little detail of this jewelry box with the gold gilding wax. And here's the final product. So yes, I know we are still getting ready for Christmas, but Valentine's Day comes really quickly afterwards. And with the Christmas release right now with the cherubs, this is a perfect time to start preparing for Valentine's Day. And if you don't have the fleur-de-lis mold, with John L. getting a stock of or a case in it right now, this is a good time to put one of those just classic pieces in your stash to have in your arsenal when you get ready to create. So friends, in the comments below today, let me know what was your favorite. And let me know, do you already have these different molds? The fleur-de-lis and the lock and key. And if you don't, this is a good time to get them because these are some really classic pieces that you can use in a lot of your projects. And with the fleur-de-lis, if you like French provincial and French country, those little fleur-de-lis that are in it are just perfect molds to use for those sort of projects. And also, I have a Facebook page called Farm Fresh Designs, and make sure to follow me on Farm Fresh Designs because I try to do some live videos on there as well. So if you enjoyed the video today, once again, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And Decoupage Central is a great place to get all of your decoupage paper and your IOD. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.